ladies and gentlemen, and 40k players. Yeah, this is talking about Tyranids, and this video is pretty much my initial thoughts on the Codex, and then after playing a bunch of games with the Codex, what my thoughts were afterwards. Now, unit reviews will come in time, but we're going to have a few weeks of just me talking about random Tyranid stuff that comes to mind, different strategies, different army lists, as I'm painting up units and trying more out before I do, like, full unit reviews, because I haven't studied the units, because I haven't seen them that much in-game, except for the games I've played. So I want to see what other people's thoughts are on other units before I start doing reviews. Okay, my initial thoughts when I got the Codex a month ago, I was like, whoa, this Codex is powerful. It's like a top tier 1 army. I was amazed at it. I was like, we're going to be so broken. I was looking at the Zoanthrope Warblast and stuff and the Trigons. And yeah, the Codex was awesome on paper. And then we have lots of new units. I was like, whoa, look at all these new units we have. This is crazy. There's special characters. There's all kinds of other things. There's like a mini Harridan, the Harpy and stuff. All these units I never would even thought of. I was like, whoa, this is cool. Some things in the Codex got cheaper. Some things got more expensive. Overall, I was looking at it, first read through, I was like, this seems pretty balanced. It's understandable. And, yeah, it seems fun and varied to use. I really enjoyed my first read through the Codex. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get games in and stuff. And this seems to give Nids a more unique playstyle. It's not going to be just run across the board and hope you make it there so you can kick vehicles over. It's like I can kill things at range, I can pop tanks open and then charge them with gaunts. I like the swarm aspect because the last few GTs I've been in, I've been running swarm. So I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm really excited for this. Well, let me tell you something. After playing 36 games on Vassal with this Codex, changed my mind a little more than a bit. The Codex is based off spamming units. What tournament list have I been using? The Turvagon spam. Yeah, and some of the other lists, Zoanthrope spam, Hiveguard spam, this spam, that spam. It's you just use the same unit, you fill your slots with it. But those are the good lists, that's why it's kinda bad. Okay, some of the units in the Codex, I don't think Crudence has ever played Tyranids. He might have played Guard for many years, but I don't think he's ever played Tyranids, because, like, if he played Tyranids, I think he would have wrote it drastically different. And some of the unit entries and just the way the Codex was written seems rushed. Like the Harpy, for example, I mean, someone drew a picture and he just kind of wrote down stats and gave it a ridiculously high point value. A lot of these units, it doesn't look like he put time and effort into it. Like he might have put effort and been like, oh look, I'm getting paid to do this, let me rate this Codex. But I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't know, like, it just seems rushed. The fluff or whatever doesn't match up with a lot of other fluff. I'm not even a fluff player, but like, some of the little things bug me. And some of the units, it just seems like, but Tyranids are supposed to be this way, and then he's changing them around, and it's just like, alright. Yeah, Crudence, I'm not a huge fan of your work here. But I prefer the older Codex's feel and playstyle. Phil Kelly played Tyranids. Phil Kelly knows how to write a Tyranid Codex. And he made Carnifexes broken in the last Codex. But yeah, I like the playstyle and the feel of the last Codex, but we kind of have to accept the new Codex, so I'm fine with that. But really, just like Carnifex and this, just certain things are just like, oh, I like the old Codex how we used to have it. A good half of the unit choices are useless and horrible compared to other units is another thing I wanted to say. Pretty much like, oh look, Pyovore, wow, a Pyovore. It's a heavy flamer guy. For like a lot of points. It's a horrible idea. I don't know what they were thinking for a new model. Same thing with the Venomthrope. It's really cool on paper until you play it in game and figure out its toughness 4 and dies to crack missiles. A lot of these units, it just seems like they rushed through them, they had really cool ideas, and they didn't like do it correctly, and they just made everything very expensive. It's just like, oh look, I can take a combat Carnifex, or you can take a Trigon for like a little more points, which is superior, more wounds, and deep strikes, and is just overall more kick-ass. There's a lot of things in the Codex that you look at it, and you go, I could take this, but this is so much better, so I'm just going to take this. This happens with the Trigon a lot, comparing it to Carnifexes, as I was saying. Alright, another funny thing is, yes, we have all these new and varied units, but then you look at it and say, wow, the Tyranid Codex has 8 elite choices. 8. Pretty much, out of those 8, what you end up using is pretty much just zone throws and hive guard. It's pretty bad. But yeah, it's just like you have all these codexes and choices, but it's like, oh yeah, you Marvel Gene Stealers, they're kind of like Vanguard veterans. Like there's a lot of just units that you just look at and go, my elite choices are special. I need zone throws. I need hive guard. Oh, there's no slots left. Aww. And I've also come to the conclusion that GW wants to sell Trigons because of how good they are and how bad Carnifexes are. GW was straight up like, I want to sell Trigons. And everyone nodded their head and said, okay, it's a cool model, so it's acceptable. And the price isn't bad for the Trigon. And pretty much, I don't know, the Codex looks a lot better on paper until you play as a lot of games with it. People may be like, yeah, it's better than the old Codex. That's because the old Codex was made for like 4th edition. This Codex, yes, kind of made for 5th edition, but it looks like a lot of the units look better on paper. Like Venomthrope, I thought was going to be awesome until I played about 5 games with it and found out while it was spiffy and cool, it died and it didn't do anything. There's a lot of units that you just look at and go, oh, this would be really awesome, let's try this out, and it doesn't work out. And talking about our beloved Carnifex, the Carnifex is now a bad $45 joke. Like, you look at it in the Codex and you say, I can make a Tyrannofex. Alright, the Tyrannofex isn't horrible, but the basic Carnifex is hard. Like, they made one of our units that every player owns 4 about, or 5 of. They made it literally a useless choice. Like, yes, you can use them, but there's so many other units that are better that you just look at it and go, I want to use you, but you're just too many points. Like, certain things like that. In the end, we have to accept the new Codex for what it is, and we have to start playing with this, because I have about 4K of Tyranids sitting around. And, I'm going to play them, and I don't really like it now, but I have to play them. It's inevitable. That's what we have. We have Tyranids. This is our Codex. We have to live with it. We can complain about the changes all we want. We can quit playing Tyranids, or we can stomach it and go, okay, let's try to see what we can do with this Codex. Its Codex is more powerful, I'd say that. We can go toe-to-toe with the other top-tier lists, but I don't know if it has staying power to last the next 4 or 5 years or whatever. Because, like, it's cool now, but I don't know. And it just feels weird. It doesn't feel like I'm playing Tyranids. Overall, not overly excited about the new Codex. I definitely was when I got it, but I've been playing games with it and it's been lots of letdowns and stuff. So we're going to see how the Codex is, and you can see all my unit reviews and listen to that. So we have to accept change, and that's what we're going to do.